Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. And truly, it breaks my heart. But one reason, I think, one of the main reasons that a lot of white people, a lot of us are really unhappy and miserable is because we lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. And congruence is basically internal alignment. Values and actions are on the same page, right? Like we accept every part of ourselves. We feel peace, security in who we are, congruence. And no matter how hard you try, you can never find internal congruence if you're not congruent with the world around you. If you're not understanding what's real and seeing reality and affirming what's true. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally. Because to deny what's happening in real time, we have to deny certain parts of us, certain emotions, certain thoughts that come up. And the more we run for that, the more incongruent and separate we feel, the more dissonance that comes, the more miserable we are. And a lot of times we're not actually dealing with our own pain and our own reality because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like, it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like it affects us white people too. You don't think a stormtrooper in the fucking Star Wars movies hates his life? You don't think he hates being bossed around all the time? You don't think poor white people living in the empire, like in a city walls, like in a Game of Thrones, like you don't think that they're miserable under it, even though they're not miserable the most? To be congruent inside, to not be miserable anymore, it takes accepting the realities of the world, seeing how those toxic systems affect us, and then moving to actually be congruent. Because deep down, humanity has goodness at its center. So yeah, white people, we're miserable because we're not congruent, because we're denying the realities of the world.
This might be a hot take, but a lot of white people are not happy. I'm Kylie, and I grew up in a very conservative area. I wanted to say that a lot of white people genuinely live some of the most miserable and isolated lives that you could even imagine. I think there are 3 reasons for this. The first is that there is just a general idea of just hyper-individualism and hoarding of resources. A lot of them are extremely stingy, don't tip well, and also don't donate to local charities. They're very isolated, and what few friends they have, their connection is built upon shared bigotry, which is
forever. Y'all are already the global minority. Okay? I'll end this video saying this. The entire world sees how desperate you are to get rid of anything that is not straight and white. And it's not because you are strong. It's because you are weak. Extremely weak. Like I said in a video before, without minorities, this country would be the weakest it has ever been.
White people hate being the minority so much. It's like so bad. It's so bad. It's not enough that we have history, that track records, that every time a white person goes, meh, I don't like the rules here, I'm gonna go take over that area. How do you think we got South Africa? Colonizers equals minority. And that's what white people don't understand. White people don't even understand that we weren't the first people here anywhere. White people do not understand that Jesus is not white. Oh no, white Jesus is white. And it's like this insane phenomenon because like all these white people don't understand that all of these things that they think are universal truths are actually just based off of their little geographical location. And if they took like 10 miles west or 8 miles east, they would see that there's a world outside of all the white people that congregate all together in these little heavily white areas, and then I mean, what do you think Utah is like, bestie? Why do you think Trump is cracking down so hard on rules to make it better for rich white men? Because they're the minority. If they were in the majority, they wouldn't have to do all this shit. But instead, they gotta rock out with their little Napoleon short-ass energy. I think a big reason that white people fight the whiteness so hard is nobody really wants to be white.
I am so sick and tired of this chip that you're carrying on your shoulder. We have bent over backwards. We have done backflips to make you feel equal. And yet, we've done everything. Perfect example is in the federal government. If you and I get the exact same rating for a position, do you know what? You get it. And do you know why? Because you're black. Is that fair? Is that fair to me?
There is a woeful lack of understanding, not only in the black community, but really in the white community, of why black people are in the condition that we're in and why all of the efforts that whites have made and government has made to try to solve the problem in the way that government sees fit has not really worked. And blacks are still crying out for more and more and more. And I realize that this is an irritant to white people because you really don't understand. And it's not really your fault. It's not really your fault, you just don't understand. But I think if you gave yourself a chance to hear what happened to these black people that makes them as they are as an irritant to you and those who think you have done the best you could. And maybe you have, but I respectfully suggest to you that there's so much more that could be done, that should be done, and that must be done.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping that you're all doing well today. Welcome to the channel. So currently we have seen videos going viral why the white people cannot be happy and why they are not happy. So ladies and gentlemen, in a case scenario where we have a class, so in this particular class we normally have the A students, we have the B students, we have the C students, and we have the D students. You will find that the C and the D students will be working so hard for them to be able to get better grades. Whereas if we have like one individual in this particular class who has been topping every time, every semester, this student will be like number one. So that is the case with most people, especially the white people. Because as I say in my channels everywhere, like if you're following me and you've seen my channel, normally I tell you like the black people did not cross oceans, they did not cross the mountains to go into another country to colonize people. All right, so currently we are having debate like why the white Americans are so, you know, miserable, like they are unhappy and all that. And most people would be saying like right now in the 21st century, in 2026, we still have the same grounds when it comes to competition and all that. But I will say like that is not true, because if we had everything tabled up, the black community will not be asking for people to do certain things in certain way. All right, and most of the time also you will realize that I will say that the black people did not cross the ocean, they did not cross the mountains for them to go to another country to colonize and enslave people. All right, so now ladies and gentlemen, most of the time I will base my fact on systemic racism. Systemic racism is like normalizing racism. So as much as in books like these people, the systemic racism is where the racism exists in institutions, and this is where you also normalize this particular act. And I would say most of the time, the history, the books, or rather the people who are supposed to be teaching this, they've hidden this in the books. And you'll find that the people are not being given the true happenings, the true things that took place, you know. Because right now, I feel like the white people should be blaming their ancestors of the act that they did to black people. And you know what, as we speak, guys, we have other communities in Africa, we have other communities in other parts of the world that whose people were taken forcefully, you know, by force. There wasn't consent of these people being enslaved. And this community is staying and they've never even met their forefathers. So it's either this way: their forefathers were taken to Europe or they were taken to America for slavery rather, and two chances are either they reached Europe, they reached America, you know, alive or not. And you find that during slavery, especially when people were being moved across the ocean and they were using ships and all that, if you die, they don't even give you a decent burial. They throw you into the ocean. So there's just like a trauma. There's a post-trauma that a lot of people, especially the black communities, are living under. And that is something that the books, people have hidden it in the books. They don't want the truth. They don't want this coming generation to be studying and getting to understand this is where the black community is coming from. Because initially, even as a black person, you are not even allowed to go to school. And right now that the world is realizing that if you take this black person with a white person in the same school, let's say, for example, you're going to do like maybe a course in mathematics, you're going to be doing a course in medicine, psychology, and all that, and we have the same ground, we have the same resources, we have the same professors, you'll find that the black people would even do more. This is something that the world is discovering now, and there's just a lot. There's just a lot that I feel like this generation needs to learn before they judge, before they get to say how much opportunities the black people have as them. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. Do you think the white communities being, miserable, they're not happy, is it justifiable that is caused by the excellence that the black people have? Or what could justify that? So guys, if you're new here, my name is Yvonne, and thank you. You are welcome to being part of my online family. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining always.